Hello everyone, my name is Flair Bliss and welcome back to our shop in Genzou's Wonderland. Let us start Act 2 in this tale. Genzou's shop is over in the downtown area, a good 15 minutes walk from Brookside. Then again, most places are a good 15 minutes walk from Brookside. Brookside is the most 15-minute walk ever. Either that or I just have a really bad sense of time. It could be that. The little bell above the door rings and I step inside. Well, quickly met with the scent of grease and metal and what smells faintly like damp wood chips. Genzou's head pops up from behind the far counter so fast he hits his skull on the overhead shelves. I know that feeling all too well, being in a retail store, being 6'6". God damn it! He grimaces and pushes himself to his feet, one hand to the back of his head, rubbing it all better. That was graceful. Oh, Iggs! His normal smile returns. That was quicker than expected. One hand up to trace the side of the counter, he tours around to the front, then immediately shoots his arms out. Put her here! Guess I figured I should have come over before I talked myself out of it. Aww, that is such a lovely hug right there. Also, the shape of Genzou's teeth as well. I lean forward towards his shoulder, and he brings his arms around my middle in a hug that crushes me against his belly. Hey, acceptance is the first step towards recovery, am I right? Or am I right? Hey, he laughs and gives me a final squeeze. When I pull back, some of the grease smudges from his cheeks and neck relocate themselves onto my clothes. Oh dear. I glance around, checking out the displays of newly repaired bikes waiting for their new homes like... I don't know why I thought that when, the unfortunality of when dogs need to be looked after because they unfortunately have been abandoned. Hopefully one day all of them find their ways to a new home. And when looking around this sort of scenario, thinking, is Genzou really doing this where he's repairing bikes so they all find a new home? Kind of like, yeah. Lot of work today then, huh? Tell me about it. Well, I was just about to double check the new invoices in the old number cruncher. Come on. He gestures and heads towards the entryway into the back shop, hands searching out key landmarks along the way. The smell is even stronger in the back. It's even more greasy as well. A half-finished bicycle lies in the middle of the floor, and past it I see a large, tall bench, everything neat and tidy and perfectly in its place. There's a pile of boxes in the corner, one of them already open, and the gleam of dirty silver peeking out. Genzou turns away from the shop proper and into a small office, complete with desk, computer, printer, beer, and slowly twirling overhead fan. You don't drink at work. There's something about the colours that makes it look like something straight out of the 70s. Perhaps this game is in the 70s, and the floor-to-ceiling wood paneling on the walls doesn't help. I can't help but wonder if the place was like this when Genzou bought it. Genzou slumps down in the orange leather computer chair and spins towards the monitor, which is probably Windows 95 for all I know. Damn order, I suppose I got him yesterday, but what can you do? Servers these days. Well, if you had a computer that's compatible with other computers, maybe you'll be able to put an order in which they'll be able to actually see and be able to translate it from not English to English, but you're not English, so therefore it has to be English to English. I'm not saying anything's bad about nationality, it's just seeing it on the screen. That's just a key. Speaking of keys, he hits a key on the keyboard and the speakers crackle to life with Start Window, Search, Search Box, Edit, and Type here to search. A couple more key flickers and a spreadsheet opens up on the screen with 2 columns of numbers. He begins tabbing through them, listening to the name of each item followed by the amounts and prices. I wonder if he has certain text in green and certain text in red to indicate profits and losses. I take this opportunity to glance around silently. There isn't much on the desk or on the walls. Sort of minimalistic. The end of a phone charger sticks up through a round hole in the turned-up wood veneer. A couple of empty granola bar wrappers sit beneath the monitor. A black-bordered clock on the wall ticks away. What's most surprising to the extent that I pull a double take upon seeing it is a small, lumpy figure slouched over just past the keyboard. Is it with that one with the button eyes? Yep, just knew it. It's been hacked together from green and blue swatches of fabric and filled with beans. It's a Frankenstein sort of thing, giving it a humorously oblong shape, and his eyes have been fashioned from two black buttons. Checkers and Oswald. God damn if that doesn't take me back. Hey, we'd made them in home ec class in junior high. The unit where everyone had to practice sewing and all the guys got really immature about it and made random things from our fabric rather than the recommended pillow or tote bag. And Genzou and I had made checkers in Oswald. Two partners in crime offer missions most perilous. Sort of like ourselves as well in the other world. Wonder World, not other world. We both gone seas in that unit. Hey, I can barely keep a chuckle from my lips as I think back. I'd given checkers to Genzou afterward and he'd given me Oswald. And where's Oswald these days? Where he had gone? I frowned, now I can't remember. At my folks' house still, maybe, or sold at a garage sale. Why would you do that? Now Checkers is no partner in crime. I cringed. Now I feel guilty. A sudden crack jerks me out of my thoughts, and I turn to see Genzou slapping the keyboard down against the desk. Why won't this POS work? Goddamn thing. I look at the screen, the speakers are gone quiet. If it has functional speakers to begin with, and the cursor seems to be frozen in place, yeah, I think there's something called lag. Or it's just the computer is so botched and old. Look at this. Can't even open a goddamn spreadsheet for crying out loud, piece of junk. Another slap of the keyboard. Look, just give it time, okay? Technology is it does things at its own pace sort of thing. Whatever. You should have emailed it too. Wait, check this out. You're gonna love this. Technology is great. He yanks his phone out of his pocket and brings it just below his chin. One of those gigantic phones. Hey, Dougal. Read my email. A sprightly male British voice brings forth from the speaker. No problem. You have two new emails. First email, Wool Blue Pharmacy reminder. Ye what? Your prescription, number 92871 Broboprine, HDI 150 milligrams. Stop reading. Genzou jabs at the power button on the phone until the voice stops. He laughs and bites down on his lip. Erasing eyebrows. Isn't that it? And it. Then realize what I'm saying and let the words die on my lips. Genzou reads sheepishly and turns his head away. He runs a hand through the hair beneath his cap. His bloody cap, mate. Hey, I mean, you know how it is. Sometimes the nights get kind of long. I press my lips together, suddenly very happy that Genzou can't see the look on my face, nor the stone tumbling around in my gut. Anyway, what the goddamn hell are we just sitting around here for? Come on, there's a half-finished velocipede out there that needs a little TLC from yours truly before it... I suppose that word begin with V as a bicycle. before its proud parents come back this afternoon. Lend me a hand? Sure, no problem. I take a step back as Genzou maneuvers around the desk and back to the door to the shop. He pauses only momentarily to slap the top frame of the door on his way out. It's been a long time since I've watched Genzou work, and it's still as impressive now as it was back then. His hands barely need to touch the frame before his fingers find what they're looking for. Then it's a twist here and a tug there. Okay, I'm gonna stop with the British thing. I'm naturally British, by the way. All the parts he needs laid out in a circle around his little stall, ready to be changed out, propped into place, dents hammered out, spokes unbent, broken chains replaced. Every tool he needs is in customary place in his apron, ready to be slipped out at a moment's notice, held fast between his lips as he frowns at something beneath his fingers. He has me hold the one-wheeled frame to keep it from falling, but I'm sure it's only to give me something to do and not feel completely useless. I'm good with technology, but not this kind of technology. Then he sends me to the new boxes of parts to find what he calls a derailleur, of which I'm only able to find after he tells me to look for the mechanical seahorse. I like mechanical seahorse over than what the other thing was called. Once the new chain is back on, it's time for the front wheel, so then it's my job to hold it again, despite the bike stand sitting right next to us and seemingly primed for that exact purpose. Nothing like the human touch. Not like those AI shenanigans they're talking about in the future. Genzou assures me and gives my knee a motivating pat through the frame. By this point, both of our faces and hands are streaked with grease. Genzou's from actually getting up close and personal with the feisty two-wheeler. Mine, because I forgot about the grease on my hands and give my face a big old swipe to assuage a tingling itch on my nose. And don't lick it off like a dog does with ice cream on its nose, for goodness sakes. The wheel goes on easily and the chain connected. A few pumps of air into the tires lands the final touch. Then the bike is good to go, standing tall and proud on two wheels. Genzou takes a rag to the frame, wiping away any potential grease stains that maybe have been left behind. You cannot forget about your rag in the tool shed, otherwise you are as good as gone. Take it for a test spin? He stands up, taking the rag to his own hands. Can't really do the honors myself, since, well, you know, if the bikes are called disassembles while mid-travel, then I can't really be the one to blame, since I'm not the one that's riding it, someone else is. I look down at the bike, then up at Genzou. Are you absolutely certain you want me to do this? I haven't stepped foot on a bike in years, come on. It's not like you can forget how to ride a bicycle, just like you can't forget how to tie a tie. Oh, come on. This is Genzou we're talking about here. Sure, okay. Sure, okay. I throw a hesitant leg over the frame and position myself on the saddle. Feet raising up on their toes. The handlebars feel sticky beneath my sweaty palms. I'm not really, good at this, though. I wobble forward, wheels spinning first left, then right, then back to the left. I feel it tipping, but can't do anything about it. With a helpless, oh no, the two of us go down. Genzou just laughs as I let out a groan. Come on, Genzou. Slow down there, Lance. I'll need to fix it again at this rate. Not sure I'm the best partner to have in the shop, especially one as a crash test dummy for your contraptions. I'll pull myself back to my feet and lug the bike back with me. Nah, you're great. Wouldn't change a thing about you. Not me, about the bike. Goodness sakes, I'm already perfect. There's nothing to change about me. There's something about the words that gives me pause, and I feel tendrils of heat lap at my cheeks, but it's a comforting feeling rather than an awkward one. The kind that loosens the muscles in my shoulders and untwists my bowels. Homie. Sorry, homie? Anyway, what do we do now? You say we're gonna pick it up later? Yes, sometime this afternoon. He palms his phone. Hey, Dougal, what time is it? It's 2:34 p.m. We've probably got some time then. If we ever encounter Dougal again, I'm going to apply that British accent to it, even though my voice is naturally British. Help me lug this thing up front, then we can kick things back with some beers. Yes, it's always good to have a nice cold one with the boys. I wheel the bike into the front shop area as Genzou cleans up the leftover parts and scraps. The newly restored frame gleams next to its siblings beneath a fluorescent light. They were all made in the same factory with the same bit of metal. That's how they're siblings. Back here, Iggs! Genzou calls as I start back, and I see him scrounging around in a small fridge at the back of a shop. He pulls 2 beers out from the bottom shelf. Convenient, I muse on my approach. Isn't it, though? Genzou laughs. It's great being your own boss sometimes. You get to make all of your choices in this business, and you're the one who gets to decide how much of a profit you get for yourself. Which is 100%. He reaches towards the wall and feels for the nearby handle, tugging open the door to the back patio. The sun is high in the sky by this point, but our little area is shaded, looking out across the small wooded area behind the development. Genzou kicks his foot out to locate the lawn chair that's clearly seen its fair share of use before sinking down into it with a sigh. He gestures towards the other side of the door. There should be another one over there. Another door? I find it as promised, fold up against the wall, and carry it over to join him. I suppose this is chairs rather than doors. How the hell do you fold up doors? This is not an IKEA instructions manual. Genzou pops open his beer, takes a sip, collapses his legs out in front of himself. I follow suit. There's a wonderful little breeze whistling through the trees and playing with my curls, my hair. For just a second, I'm back in grade school, minus the fact that we have beers, and Genzou and I just come back from... Wait a minute. Minus the fact that we didn't have beers back in school, because that would be a very inappropriate thing, just for context there. Come back from an expedition in the woods, feasting on our well-earned spoils of orange soda and ice pops. Genzou scrounges around in his pocket before pulling out a pack of cigarettes. Not for me, thank you. He brings one to his lips, lights it with a flick of his lighter, then sits back and takes a long, slow drag before blowing a stream of smoke into the air. So, when are you and Gidge getting together? He asks out of the blue. And what do you imply by that, Genzou? The question catches me off guard and I need to choke on my beer. What? Genzou shrugs and laughs, the cigarette bouncing between his legs. Always figured out it was an inevitability myself, just didn't know when. It's not like we're guessing if it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen. Yeah, it happened within a dream. And it wasn't me that made the choice, but she was rather violent. I mean, I ran a hand through my hair, nails scratching up my scalp. I never really thought about it. Never? Genzou raised an eyebrow. You're gonna make a girl break her heart, you know. I don't know. Maybe? But I don't know. I'm not sure if we're into that sort of thing, you know. We're friends, but we're not like that. My knee is bouncing like a jackhammer. Luckily, this isn't a PowerPoint presentation we're showing to 20 other students within a university class. Genzou is quiet, head pointed lazily sky. By the way, my knee jerked when I did do presentation PowerPoints. at university. He takes a sip from his beer and taps the ash off the end of his cigarette. Didn't know it's such a touchy subject, he finally says with a grin. It's not, it's just, I don't think about that type of stuff often. So when you say it like that, that means it occasionally crosses your mind then. Genzou turns towards me. I can practically see him blinking in amused interest beneath his sunglasses. You're a bit of an odd duck, you know that, Iggs? Oh, and you're a portrait of normalcy. I suppose you've got a point there. At least I've got this old belly of mine to keep me company into my ripe old age. It's the only thing that can put up with my quirks. My mind goes back to the night prior to what Orlum said, and what Genzou had seemed pretty adamant on avoiding. I rub a mouth of my about the disappearance of our friend. I cross my lips absent-mindedly, watching him for a few moments. You know, I finally say, letting the silence scratch just a few more moments. You can always tell me anything, right? If you want to, of course. Genzou is quiet. His head is pointed off towards the trees now, and he's got his cigarette perched on the end of his lips, Up, down, he wiggles it back and forth. He finally grabs it between his fingers, cocking out at an angle as he blows a plump of smoke. I'll tell you once you've gotten yourself hitched and you've popped out 2.5 kids and a white picket fence to cover them, how about... What on earth are you on about, man? Then we'll be able to have ourselves a good laugh about it. What is within that cigarette that's made you talking like that? I don't say anything. And hear me out. You get yourself good and famous, you know, churning out hit games, and you got yourself a big old apartment in New York City with 5, 6 lovely ladies at your beck and call. Yeah, we're gonna call this one Monday, we're gonna call this one Tuesday, and etc. Sundays are my days off, okay? Whichever comes first. Those are some high demands. Hey, I expect a lot of you, what can I say? Clearly. The silence returns and we sit there, sipping on our beers, taking in the breeze, listening to the birds somewhere up in the trees. I've always preferred countryside. I've always grown up in the countryside, but sometimes going to the city it feels quite claustrophobic. And there's just so many more colours in the countryside to admire, especially in the spring and summer. It's nice. Like equivalent to being at home by myself nice. Not sapping me of energy nice. Not demanding or expecting anything of me nice. Just feeling at ease nice. Genzou reaches over, feels for my shoulder, gives it a manly squeeze. Hey, thanks for coming over, you know? I return his squeeze with a squeeze of my own, wrapping my fingers around his knuckles. I wonder for perhaps a moment too long. Of course. Always for our buddy Genzou. Genzou is the only one that has been loyal. I get back to my apartment a bit before dinner time, and despite the fatigue tugging at my mental muscles, somehow I feel, I don't know, lighter? My head a bit clearer. How is it clearer after having alcohol? Unless it's alcohol-free beer. I even feel myself smiling as I think about the evening ahead of how much work I still have left to do. Now, alcohol-free beer is boring. Not really, actually. I ordered myself... I read that as beer for some odd reason. Beef and broccoli from a little Chinese place a few blocks over to a huge. The hunger growing in my belly, then set myself to work. I need to focus. Get at least a few solid hours in before bed. I can still catch up relatively easily so long as I don't slack. Or, you know, knee-jerk from a phone call and fall over. And your chair in the process. I just need to find my groove. I make it to around 11 before I find myself making errors I definitely shouldn't be making, which means it's time to call it quits for the day. So I retreat to the bed and get a good 30 minutes of reading in before my eyes start drooping and my head stops comprehending the words on the wall. I'm asleep. I think about a funeral box again until I turn off my bedside lamp. And by that point I'm so tired that it isn't more than a passing thought as I bury my head in my pillow. I'm sure it's fine. I'll call tomorrow. Oh, for goodness sakes, we're here again! Not this flashback! We're going back, aren't we? I dream that night. I'm in the woods and someone's calling me. I chase after the voice in the darkness, but every time I think I'm getting closer, it comes from a different direction. Iggy. I run faster, the branches whipping at my face and the roots underfoot threatening to send me stumbling into the dirt. Come find me, Iggy. I run and I run and I run, I run until I reach some sort of clearing. Ah, where is this place? There's a giant gate at the far end, but I'm not even sure if gate is the right word. More like a barrier built from warped, knotted trees. A nature-like gate. There's a lock on it. A giant keyhole carved from dark wood. And as I let my fingers trace the rounded curves, the voice returns. Open it. Well, no, I can't open it. I need multiple friends with me, and to sacrifice a little part of myself in order to open it. Blood, I'm talking blood. Open it how? I glance down and find I'm holding it. Oh my goodness sakes. Is there some kind of sacrilegious doll sacrifice summoning demon, whatever it's going to be? It's... Oh, wait. Button eyes. It's, Checkers and... Oh gosh, what was the other doll called? It's long hair falling between my fingers. I look back at the lock. Only it's no longer a lock. It's a heart. Beat. Oh my gosh, a beating lock heart. I try to take a step back, but something's grabbed my hand. It's tiny set of fingers. From the doll? I'm too scared to look. But I have to. I have to know. I start to turn my head. Only for a voice whispered right next to my... Oh. Please kill me, Iggy. Oh. Oh gosh. I gasp and sit up, only now I'm back in my bed and the sun is reflecting off the window straight into my eyes. My heart's still thudding away inside my chest. I wait a few minutes for my sense of reality to return before shaking my head and climbing out of bed. It's late, far later than I usually wake up. That dream kept me going. And as I'm taking my first sip of coffee, I remember Huna. Worry bubbles up somewhere around my... That word again that keeps popping up. I should call. His number's still the last one of my recent calls. Yeah, all 420 of them. And it only takes a second before the phone is ringing, but it cuts to voicemail after the fifth ring. Damn, I know at the inside of my... This again? The bubbles of worry are starting to turn into a froth. I suppose it doesn't matter how many times a sentence comes up within the game, as long as it's actually thematical and makes sense to the situation itself. But what am I supposed to do at this point? I suppose you can only paraphrase something so many times before you have to resort back to the same thing. Besides, I'm still playing catch-up with the work I didn't get to do yesterday. I didn't have a ton of spare capacity to spend worrying. I'll try again later. For now, it's back to work. It's back in the hot seat. Or maybe not at all. I try to focus, to concentrate on my work. But even the thought of a looming deadline is enough to keep my thoughts from straying. First to Hunar and the way his voice had quaked on the phone, then to Bucks and the way her voice had crackled with anger during their argument. Then for some reason to Genzou, to the way his voice sounds when he says my name. Comforting. Iggy. Like being wrapped up in a warm blanket. All these different voices. I shake my head. This isn't the time to be daydreaming or for any kind of chaos networking to happen in my head with all these voices lingering around at the same time, all trying to speak to me simultaneously. I need to get this goddamn thing done. I get in a good few hours, but I'm not particularly confident it's my best work. It's the best work of today. I'll probably need to go back through everything tomorrow just in case. I'll try calling Huno again later that afternoon, but there's still no answer, which only agitates the gurgle of our knees towards turning my bowels further. Is it even affecting my appetite by this point? Nothing sounds good. Nothing healthy, at least. So I simply reach for some of the half-eaten snacks in my pantry. Night falls along with my motivation. I'm past the point of even trying to divert my attention. I sit at the window and watch Mrs. Dornish make her third trip to the mailbox that day. Well, at least it's not the bins this time. Then retreat to my bed, figuring I'll play some music and try to relax, get an early night's sleep. Tomorrow should have some answer, sorry. Tomorrow should be another fun-filling day, but even my normal beats only serve to make my nerves dance in different patterns. This isn't a Guitar Hero game going in different patterns, or one of those feet pattern games you have at arcades. I cover my head with my pillow, lie with my feet at the head of the bed, move to the floor, move to the chair in the living room. I sat there for a while, in the dark, just staring at the wall like an insomniac. Then at some point my gaze falls. My messenger bag is still slumped on the floor by the far counter from where I tossed it in the other night. So we're kind of a day in advance in comparison to Act 1, because after the get-together and after we went home, that very same evening from the following day, we went to the woods, but now we're 2 days ahead from the barbecue, I think. Third day, actually. And in that split second before my eyes focus on it, I swear I see it move. What do you see move? I blink, glance nervously around the dark apartment. But it's empty. Of course it's empty. I'm the only one here. Sakes, I'm really starting to lose it. I need to get out. Just don't go into the forest, okay? Whatever you do, don't go into the forest. Get some fresh air. Clear my head. Oh no, not one of these again. I push myself up and out of the chair like a little wobble and grab my keys. Then step outside. The breeze feels refreshing in my cheeks, and when I take a deep breath, it curls up in my lungs like a giant whiff of methanol. Maybe I've just been cooped up too long. I start down the sidewalk, my steps disguised by the hum of the cicadas. We are already in our dream state. Past the neighbouring apartments, complexes, past the small houses with their single-car garages and not their double-car garages. Soon I've left Brookside behind me. Not so 15 minutes when we're already in it, and I find myself instinctively heading north towards my folks' old house. The outcropping of woods there still haven't been built over even after all these years. My palm tingles. A pinprick like scratching that jumps from one nerve ending to the next and makes my fingers twitch. I curl my arms around my chest in an effort to dull the growing spark. Why did I stop, glance around. Why did I walk all the way out here? Who knows, man? Maybe it's a calling. I shiver. The breeze I had once felt cool and refreshing suddenly feels frigid against my bare arms. BEAR arms, mind you. This is a big arms. But instead of heading back, I press further across the empty lot between the houses towards the blackness of the woods beyond. Not these woods again. I stop at the threshold between light and dark, one hand up to trace the bark of the nearest tree. What am I doing? My whole arm is throbbing now, as though 1,000 tiny insects are biting and jabbing and gnawing at the skin. I step forward. A branch snaps not more than a few feet away. My heart leaps into my throat, and I throw my arms with a squawk. Who's there? Cripes in a handbag, about scared the bejesus out of me. Genzou? Wait, Iggy, is that you? I lower my arms, then squint as a shadow moves away from a nearby tree. It's Genzou, just Genzou. The rapid hammering of my heart begins to recede. Somehow the orange tint of his hat in the darkness feels incredibly comforting all of a sudden. Yeah, that's a very good signature land point. It's kind of like being in Paris and there's the Eiffel Tower with Genzou as his big orange hat. He reaches out with his cane to find me, then gives me a couple of crisp whops on the ass to usher me closer. Damn, Iggs, I've seen more of you these last few days than I have in the last year. What's going on, my dude? I'd almost think you were stalking me, except that I know, well, you. Did bringing in my presence suddenly spark a deep, unyielding need of inappropriately timed drollery? You wish? What are you even doing out here? Well, I can say the same thing to you. Could ask you the same thing. I scratch the back of my head. I have an innate good talent of reading in the future of what people are about to say. Shuffle my feet. Was just taking a walk. Same. Couldn't sleep? Nah, we grow quiet. A strange chill begins creeping up my spine. I wonder if Genzou had the same urge to get out of house, as I had. So, now comes the question of the hour. Yeah, you were, going there, were you? I guess. I wasn't really thinking about it. Me neither. You don't think? I don't know. Guess we won't know if we don't check. Yeah. An owl hoots from somewhere in the darkness. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's go then. Lead the way. I throw a final glance at the black void between the trees, then step inside. Was everyone in our dreams? The air instantly cools. It's a damn chill. The kind that sticks to your skin and weighs down your chest. I press forward through the scattered brush. Brush? Yeah, using my hands to keep on walking face first into a tree. I can hear Genzou's cane whipping through the grass and snapping against bark behind me. I focus on that familiar sound. It keeps my nerves from jumping out of my skin. I have to say, if I'm going to be walking through the woods at night, I'm at least glad it's him I'm with. Genzou. His mere presence dulls the sharp bite of anxiety gnawing at my insides. I reach forward, seeking out the bark of the next tree, only this time when my fingers touch the jagged edges, it sends a spark all the way up my arm and into the back of my throat. I stop. Genzou's cane wraps against my ankles, and he stops too. We're here? Yeah, answer before I even have a chance to check, because I know. How can I not? The biggest tree in the forest. Its base like a giant boulder choked with winding roots. I let my fingers trace across its surface as I circle around, careful not to trip on the gnarled outgrowths. Halfway around, my hand hits air. I come to a halt. The familiar edges are there. The rounded gap in the side. The hollow echo of stagnant air. The far-off scent of something sweet. It's open. I take a step back and hear Genzou approach. Is this your doing again? You know, or... I keep forgetting her name. Bucks, Virgo. Jesus, my whole body is crackling with energy now. Even the breeze seems to have shifted, even moving towards that hole in the side of a tree. Well, I think we learned from our past time around that us as adults can't simply open it. We need a small one who is yet to turn into an adult to be able to open it. It seems this magical, heinous curse or blessing can only be opened by those with a pure imagination free of adultery, debaucheration, and corruption. When was the last time? Genzou's voice is a whisper. I don't know. Ah. Is there some kind of endless cycle going on here? Where we're constantly going back to the same point of not remembering the last time you came here, but there has been at least more than one point in which you came here. I threw a glance at Genzou. I could just make him out through the darkness. He's got a hand curled up under his hat, nails scratching at his scalp. I lick my lips, scratch my arm. Something feels wrong. Too wrong. And there's a strange sense of familiarity to all this. Almost as though I've stood in this exact spot before. Had the same conversation. Oh my gosh, it's deja vu, isn't it? And the outcome had been less than desirable. Yeah, you can say that again. Losing multiple limbs. My stomach gurgles. I glance over at Genzou. Are you getting the weirdest sense of deja vu as it's just me? What do you mean? I mean, like we did this before. The two of us. I think I remember if we'd taken a romantic midnight stroll in the woods before X. No, just something at the back of your head. Something that is telling you that this isn't completely unfamiliar. Oh, my eyes. Whatever, it's probably nothing. Yeah, the third time around, I was like, look, Genzou, I know this sounds crazy, but we've definitely done this. Fourth time, look, Genzou, we have definitely done this. You've got to remember. Unless Iggy is the only one that remembers other cycles. Sort of like a Rintaro Okabe from Steins Gate, sorry. This whole situation is just weirding me out. I expect another smart retort from Genzou. Think about how normal life is enough to weird me out. But there's nothing. And when I glance over, he's just standing there. Face grim and jaw tight. You okay? What? Yeah, just felt real hot all of a sudden. Must be going through menopause. Look, Genzou, you can't get that. It's biologically impossible for you to get that, okay? I cock a brow, but turn back towards the hole all the same. What do you think, then? Should we go in? My voice hitches. Somehow I feel like we don't have much of a choice. I move forward towards the hole, popping a squat among the weeds. There's that scent again. Soft, sweet, like a tempting aroma of a candy store. It curls up inside my nostrils. I grab the rounded edges and peek inside, leaning forward on my toes. We're sure it's not just for some possum hole? Wouldn't that be Hila? Genzou from behind. I can't tell if he's joking. I didn't read that as saying hilarious partway through. I turn my head to look back, but whack my forehead on the top edge and lose my balance. I land with a bruise-inducing thud on my shins and let out a string of four-lettered words. All of them begin with F and ending with K. Or S beginning with and ending with T. For just a moment, I'm a titter-totter, swaying back and forth atop the bottom edge, maybe both, a combination of both, or other words. Then my forward weight wanes and I tilt further and further and further until we're back in the dream world, Our Wonderland, and tumble straight into the hole. The gigantic hole of the darkness swallows me. This time again I'm falling. Wind whips my hair, my shirt, summoning water to my eyes. My stomach feels like it's been sucked up straight into my bowels. On and on and on and on. Complete nothingness surrounding me, consuming me. But there's a strange sense of familiarity in the darkness too. Almost as though it's welcoming me back. Again. I reach out, almost expecting something to grab my hand, like Genzou. But there's nothing. Nothing and no one. And all at once I feel incredibly alone. Iggy. I look around. Where's that coming from? It feels like it's coming from everywhere and nowhere at all. What do you want, Iggy? What do I want? What kind of question is that? What do you wish for more than anything else in the whole world? I don't know. I think about my life. Think about my apartment in Brookside. Think about my friends, Bucks and Huna, Gidget and Orlum, Genzou. I clench my eyes shut tighter. My heart feels confused, like it wants something, but doesn't even know what. And somehow that thought is so terrifying that it would rather just not want it at all. I don't know. I don't know what I want. Maybe at the end of Act 5 we finally get to see what it is that we really want. My fingers are starting to tingle. First tiny nibbles of numbness, then building into incessant zaps of electricity. Up, up, up my arms they go, growing and growing, into my chest, into my stomach, shooting down into my legs. And loud, so loud I can't hear, can't think. Just when I think I can't take it anymore, oh, and we are sucked whole. My mind goes blank. Are we going to wake up at the house again? Iggy? I hear my name. That voice again. The one that wraps around me like a warm blanket. Iggy! Is it morning? I don't remember going to sleep. In fact, I don't remember much at all. But I don't mind, as long as that voice keeps saying my name. My lips curl into a smile as I try to turn over and drift back off into nothingness. Just 5 more minutes, okay? I need my beauty sleep. For goodness sakes, Iggy, you're gonna get yourself buried in there? My eyes snap open. This isn't my bed. In fact, this isn't even my room. And these certainly aren't my stuffed animals. My hundreds of thousands of stuffed animals. The part of them has overtaken the entire corner of the room, almost like someone spilled a gigantic box of them in through a hole in the roof. A very, very high hole in the roof. I stare up at that same hole now, blinking in silence, until an orange-capped head overtakes my view. Good morning, Starshine. The Earth says hello. Genzou. Genzou, we fell through the hole. Very good, Iggy. We did fall through the hole. Genzou yanks me up by the wrist, extricating me from the part of animal, sorry. Was it extracting? I don't know. It takes every ounce of concentration I have not to fall straight back to the floor. Are we really back in the house? Really? We've got to encounter those goddamn rabbits again. And now we're at the bottom of the hole, because that's what happens when you fall down a hole. Yes, a very, very, very large hole. I pat my head, my cheeks, my waist, the sides of my legs. Did we really? My gaze wanders to the rest of the room. It's somehow just like I remember it. The warm grain of the hardwood floor. Maybe in one of the other acts we should try to fight the urge to go into the forest. Like have the urge, but then try and fight it. As to say, no, this is very bad, we should not be doing this. The rounded windows. The crackling fire with nearby stove, kettle already on the boiler. And the small table in the middle of the room, half-eaten cookies, cakes, and sweets still litter its checkered cloth. This is some grade A blanked up shite is what it is. But hey, what else is new? Am I right or am I right? The sound snaps me out of my wonderlandment, and I turn back to Genzou, who's currently testing out the stability of one of the chairs. I realize at that moment that he's not wearing his sunglasses. Genzou? Where? Except I don't finish, because Genzou turned to look at me. Like, at me. His dark brown eyes dilating just slightly as his focus shifts. I step back so quickly I knock my head against the cupboard behind me. Like Genzou? Genzou, sorry? You... I rub the back of my head with a wince. Yeah. You mean you can actually... You can? What do you want me to do? I wasn't gonna lie. I know on my top lip. I can't stop staring. The weirdest feeling is coming up around my heart. A mixture of guilt and... something else. Worry? Embarrassment? Genzou scowls and jerks his head away. What am I? The new exhibit at the Louvre? Cut that out already, he adjusts his cap in obvious discomfort. Besides, it's not like this is permanent. Yeah, but still. You mean you're not even at all? Oh yeah, I had my obligatory teary-eyed moment. Curled you in my arms as I weep like a goddamn baby. Somebody even started playing. I can clearly see. I can see clearly now. Right, loudly on a recorder, straight into my ear. But blank that, I'm not gonna let myself get separated from reality. And I'm sure as hell not staying down here any longer than we need to. This is wrong, all of it. We're not supposed to be here. I finally pull my gaze away. Attention returning to our quaint surroundings and the nostalgic smell of spice curling up inside my nasal cavity. I put a hand to my hair, trying to calm the errant curls. I'm suddenly feeling very self-conscious about how I look. Can't argue with that. Somehow I don't know. It's like looking behind the curtains at something I'm not supposed to see. I will say though, Riggs, you turned out exactly how I always pictured in my mind. And how is that, Genzou? This shoots my head up. Oh? How's that? Like a loser! You bugger. I jump at him before I can stop myself, hands grabbing at the collar of his jacket. He laughs. Then just as quickly as I'd come rushing over, throws me down and pins me to the floor. My head rings from the impact. Damn, I haven't been able to do that in a while. Genzou's grin goes from ear to ear. I push fruitlessly against his shoulders, because it was something I sorely missed, I say with a roll of my eyes. He stays there a moment, just looking down at me. At least take me out to dinner first. I thought that's a very Genzou thing to say, actually. Not about to let myself lose in this battle of snark. I spit out the best retort I can come up with on the spot. You know, you could at least take me out to dinner first before throwing yourself at me. Genzou blinks. Oh my gosh, I see his pupils suddenly dilate. Then he jerks his hands away as though he just touched a hot poker. He sits back with a cough. jokes are just as bad as always, I see. Hey, you won't have any other way, am I right? Or am I right? You can't just say Genzou lines, okay? Only Genzou can say Genzou lines. I give his shoulder a playful punch. yeah. Genzou just rubs at the back of his neck, his eyes somewhat strained. He looks away, turning his attention back to the room. Then nods, damn, all the memories though. He pushed himself up to his feet. I wonder if we selected the wrong choice there, actually. If we did, like, I thought Genzou would just laugh hysterically at that. Remember the first time? When we had no idea how to get back, so we all just piled into the bed because we were so goddamn exhausted? I threw a glance at the bed in question before following suit. It looks so small now, but back then, it had fit all 5 of us. Well, mostly. Pretty sure I kicked all of them off. You and all of them, for goodness sake. You always have some vendetta against the poor lad. It's true though. The more I look around, the more comes back. Starting out as nothing more than flickering images. Then like snowballs roaring themselves into full-fledged memories. The 5 of us, huddled together beneath the blankets, tired and scared and unsure how we were going to get home, only to wake up the next morning back in our own beds as though nothing had happened. So, perhaps the access to the Wonderland is not so complicated after all. We fall in, we get ourselves more than a big night's rest, and then we wake back up within reality. And then later that day, we'd all been too scared to say a thing, just sitting there picking at our food, silent as the grave. As the grave at lunch. Until Genzou had popped the question we'd all been waiting for, and it's been like the floodgates had gone off. All of us laughing, recounting our adventures, excitedly planning when we going to go back again. The thought of it brings a smile to my face, and I let my thumb trace over the round curve of the bottom bedpost. You think the rest of those people are here then? Our friends? Genzou says it so softly, I'm not even sure he's talking to me at first. I turn away from the bed to find him investigating the kettle. He pokes it with his finger. Then immediately pulls away, but oh my gosh, it's still hot then. Bringing the tip of his finger to his mouth. I don't know, but somehow it feels like... Before I can finish my aimless thought, the sound of footsteps cuts me off. Heavy, march-like. Again and again, steady and methodical. I wonder if we're going to see a dismemberment of a rabbit again because of not obeying orders. I throw a glance at Genzou, then both of us dash towards the window. We squeeze our heads inside the rounded frame, eyes seeking out the source of the sound. But even as I'm crouched there, waiting, a trickle of dread begins pouring in my bowels. Almost like I'm watching a scary movie and I know there's a scare coming. I lick my lips, close my fingers around the sill, and then they come. 2 by 2 they round the corner, crisp and methodical. Spears swinging in sync. I hear Genzou's breath hitch next to me, but neither of us say a word. Somehow, it's like we were both expecting this. I don't know why, but I was almost imagining a different animal altogether. The rabbit in the lead comes to an abrupt halt. His ears are standing straight up, like lightning rods baiting a storm, and his nose twitches once, twice, 3 times. He spins around and the rabbits behind him jump into gawkish salutes. The dread in my gut is building. I can feel myself starting to sweat. Where is he? Where is he? A high-pitched squawk rattles the window pane, and I bring my hands up to my ears on instinct. No, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this. The other rabbits seem confused. They remain quiet, simply wrenching their heads back and forth in search of some unknown entity. Yes, another rabbit, that's what we're searching for. Century 218! You overgrown rodents! This prompts an about-face from the soldiers in the battalion, who quickly spins on their heels to face the single rabbit at the back, the only one without a partner. The rabbit in question flinches and steps back. Thud, thud, thud. Each impact of the lead rabbit's boots on the hard earth makes the walls of our small cottage shake as he storms to the back of a rank. His next words are screeched less than an inch from the lone soldier's fidgeting nose. I thought I told you to keep that buck in line, Sentry. A pause. He grabs at the other rabbit's ears, half yanking it out of his skull in order to read what looks like some sort of metal tag affixed to the mangled cartilage. 104! He lets go of the ear and 104's head jolts backwards. So tell me then, where is 218? It's at that point that I pull away from the window. I slam my back to the wall. You remember this, don't you? You thoroughly remember what's going to happen. I don't want to watch. I know what's going to happen. I don't know how I know. I somehow just know. You okay, Iggs? I'm fine. Except I don't know what to say. Don't know how to explain it. That overwhelming sense of dread currently paralyzing my body. Genzou watches me for a second, not saying anything. Then returns his gaze to the window. Yeah, you shouldn't be seeing that 18+ display. I see him wince. Twitch. But when his eyes start to bug out of his head, I quickly twist away. Hands tight around my ears, I stare at the far wall, stare at the pattern on the bedsheet. I try to summon that mental image again, of all of us in the bed, cozy and warm. Someone's tucking us in, reading us a story, kissing our heads. In my head, I glance up to see a pair of long, droopy ears. Goodness sakes. This jolts me back to reality and the rabbits outside. I glance up just as Genzou's face goes completely white. Yep, the same thing has happened again, but this time we had foresight of what's happened. Jesus. Wait another second. Then, are they gone? Yeah, they're leaving. I let out a breath. I didn't even realize I've been holding and slump away from the wall. Good cool looking away, Iggs. I'm definitely going to have to see a therapist about what I just saw in 5 years. What happened down there? I finally manage. Something that wasn't supposed to, that's for sure. He throws another glance at a window. We're really going out there then? Yeah, run a hand through my head. I mean, do we really have a choice at this point? All of this feels like, yeah, deja vu. Like everything's made up and the points don't matter. What are you talking about points? This is a visual novel. This is real life. I shoot Genzou a dirty look. Hey, my life is basically an improvised tragic comedy already. How much worse could it get? I don't respond. It's not saying Dr. Pepper, what's the worst that could happen? But something churning my gut tells me it's about to get worse. A whole lot worse. It's just on the tip of my tongue. A lot worse. Are we gonna go past the corpse? God damn. The two of us look down at the dead body of Sentry 104. I've got one hand over my mouth and I'm trying my best not to gag, but the smell alone is repulsive. That was one hell of a nasty whelp. A real clunker. I mean, that really must have hurt. And another. Just look at the way his brain is spliced up between the cracks in his skull. Do you really have to go into such detail? Genzou, your commentary is not appreciated. Let's be honest, when is it ever? Yeah, but not in this moment, for goodness sakes. I ignore him and glance instead at our surroundings, my stomach still turning flip-flops. There's no sign of a battalion now. They've disappeared somewhere among the trees further down the left path. Not that the right feels any more promising, but at least we have some immediate foresight of knowing that the left path is the worst path of them all. I didn't even read that sentence, so apologies. Genzou tugs his cap back over his toused hair. Which way then? Actually, scratch that. Decision seems pretty clear to me we're going right. Don't know what it is, but somehow even thinking about going the other way is giving me the heebie-jeebies. I don't know about you. Yeah, I know on my left and glance back to the left. He's not wrong. The longer I gaze down the path, the more tiny pinpricks of anxiety run up my spine. I put my hands on my stomach, half expecting to see a nice big hole, a big hole running through it. I swallow hard. Yeah, I think it's for the best. Yeah, let's go along this path. It's quiet as we walk through this autumny woods. Okay, we're going to leave it off here on, I don't know why, but I was expecting a multiple choice scenario. I wonder if we get to the option where the ton rolls up. It's just gonna be like, I know this sounds completely dumb, but we're not gonna go on the bridge. We're gonna go on the ton and then go from there. Sounds stupid enough, but hey, we're in it for the long run. Also, welcome back to Our Wonderland. This is Act 2. Thank you all so much for watching. There's a link down in the description below where you'll be able to download this game for yourselves. It is completely free to play, and this game has much more features, quality features of all kinds of aspects and ratios, in which sometimes when you pay a huge price tag for a AAA game, you don't even get a quarter amount of the quality when it comes to certain free visual novels. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next time of Our Wonderland. What do you think is going to be different this time around? And with this foresight, what do you think will happen with both of our friends? Are we going to get ensnared by Bridget? Are we going to be held up by Autumn? Are we going to get our members dismembered by Bucks? Are we going to find Hunar in here? But then again, Hunar was not one of the original 5. Nonetheless, thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourselves.